Guten Tag, I'm Ramlock, and welcome back to my journey through the world of logs, lockpicking, and logspot. This is experience 3, and in experience 3, we are looking at the ABUS 72 not dash, slash 40, which is ranked a green belt in the LPU belt ranking system since it is the guttable version. What we do in this video is pick it, gut it, and reassemble it. And this is not actually a first try. I already did that for my green belt submission, so I already kind of experienced with that log. I know kind of what to do with it, but we will see what else we can find out, or maybe run into any problems, or yeah, maybe or just talk through the experience I have with it. So I'm getting my vise here. I think everyone knows it. Most used vise, as I have seen from people at least. This is actually a 6-pin tumbler. Yeah, 6 pins as far as I know it has, but we will see it when we got it. It has 1 standard pin and 5 spool pins. So we'll put it here and get my tools in. What I will use is a short hook and a normal, I think this is called bottom of the key tensioner. Since actually I'm located in Europe or in Germany, our way logs are built in are from the pins are downward, so that's what I'm doing most of the time. I'm used to picking from top to bottom, so I will press down the pins. There is a small difference I recognize between this way and the other way, like the Americans do. They have it the other way around, like they pick it up, they lift the pins. Is when a pin is set, it is harder to get a feedback on this one, because what they do often is the jiggle test, which is just go at a pin and put a bit pressure on it, and then they see what kind of feedback it gives. And if it's set, it is more like a loose one, not a springy one or not stiff one. It's more like a loose thing that goes up and down, and that is a bit harder to do, because if it's set, it's already down at the shear line, and so if you put against it, it is deeper, but you can confuse it with being a binding pin. So what we do now is just pick it. I will try it. It's my first time picking it and on this video, so we will see how it goes. And I will talk through the pins, I guess. Or I try. And yeah, let's start, I would say. So the tensioner is a bit big actually. I have very narrow keyway here, from my experience at least. So I have to get in the first pin, and I think it's already binding. I pushed it a little, the first one, and I think we overset it now. That's great. So what I do is resetting. You get a bit tension on it. And yeah, that looks like a 4 set here already. So we saw the core was turned a bit to this side. Now it's more straight. Okay, so 1 is set. 2 is, oh no, it's not binding yet. So 3, oh, little click. 3 is set. No, it's not set yet. It's counter rotating. So what we get here is the counter rotating part. Yeah, we got in a deeper 4 set. So on 3, I had a counter rotating. That is a spool pin. So it counter rotated a bit back because I was pushing it, and since it is narrow in the middle and wider on the top, if it tried to push it down, the top gets into the pinway, what is called the pinhole hole underneath, and then it tries to push the core a bit back. So we adjusted the tension a bit to have more space. So on 4, yeah, 4 is counter rotating as well. You see it a bit, click, and we set it and get back into the 4 set. So this can be a good set. Let's try with 5. yeah, a bit counter-rotating. Click and force set. So 4, 5. And then the last one, 6. Oh, got even a better force, a deeper force set, and 6 is counter-rotating. Clack. So now I guess 2 is actually binding. 1 is set. 2. Yeah, 2 is, yeah, and we got it open. So that is actually, if you know what I'm doing. And the first, when I started to pick this log back then for the green belt, I had to learn how to use the whole situation with the counter-rotating pins or the spool pins. Now it's a bit stuck. Okay, it's open. We get rid of this tag here. And yeah, you have to learn a bit the binding order or feel it. Actually, this is kind of easy now since I know it and picked it a lot of times. Yeah, but spool pins, it is a really great log to learn spool pinning, especially with one standard pin in it. There are also logs which has spool pins all the way down. I have some. I'm still kind of struggling on that. We will see that in another experience. All right. So now let's go to the gutting of it. We get rid of the picking tools here. And I have my gutting tool. So I don't have a big mat. Now I'm using this old mouse pad as my pad. I ordered one. Maybe it will come sooner or later, but I guess for now it works. And my gutting set. So I got shims here to retain the pins. I will use that on that log. It showed as very helpful. Actually, I'm using on all of the logs. I already destroyed one very cheap log I got from a flea market without using it because it had a so-called skeletonized plug, and yeah, the keys got bound up. I didn't get it out, and out of frustration, I broke off the key, and then I threw it away. It was rubbish after that. So what I still get is, okay, we can get one of these mounting. So we have 2 different sizes. I use the smaller one since the plug here is a smaller one. I don't know the diameter. I have to learn them, and maybe next time I know it. What we else need are these tweezers. Take both of them. Actually, my experiences, I like both. Sometimes I like the one that has this little, what is it called, like the grooves, which are made for pinning because you can grab the pins really well with it. But sometimes I really like these very pointy ones, because sometimes it's even better to put it inside or get it out because you have a bit more way to navigate on the pin. So that's why I'm using both. Then we have this C-clip wrench, I guess it's called, to get C-clips off. I get another one in the future, but that comes with the set, and yeah, it's not the best quality, but it does its job. Then what else we need is, getting it out, is of course a plug follower. Very helpful to not lose pins or get the orientation or the order of pins. But maybe you have seen it, maybe not, that's why I'm talking through that. And something I'm missing here is a screwdriver, because to get this plug out, I need a screwdriver. Then I get it from my toolbox, just a very standard one, I think very cheap one. It was delivered with some parts, but that fits perfectly into this screw. Let's see where we got it. Yeah. Here we have the screw inside, and that is what we have to do to get the cylinder out. So I'm unscrewing. Sometimes it takes more turns on logs, sometimes less. If the cylinder comes out, then we are fine. And yeah, that's the whole cylinder with all the parts. And inside the log we have the housing where it gets into. And something on that log is a so-called shielding. I'm trying to get it out. It's a bit stuck with oil or something in there. Oh, that was too much. Now I got more than I wanted. But that shielding is for that you cannot bypass this lock. So you cannot put like a bypass tool through the QA and get it back there to turn that stuff to open it, and that is what it is for. So I'm trying to get that back. I don't want it to get that out actually, and I've never got that out, so this is the first time for me as well, but it is fine, totally fine back there. I will keep the shielding out because I put it on the cylinder or the plug itself after, or when I'm reassembling. So now we put that aside. That is not needed now. And we prepare our shims. So what these shims, I don't know where I ordered them, 6.38 by 32 millimeter shims. This is perfectly fine for this size of lock. That works very well, but not with my big fat fingers, which is not struggling. Maybe I need bigger bags. Got one. Yeah, it's only one. Very thin metal, but very sturdy since it's bent. All right. So what we now have is the whole cylinder. So here's the part where it gets screwed in, or where the screw holds it in the housing, and the plug, and that's held by an C-clip or C-clip inside. So I'm relocking it, so it's locked now. The plug or the whole lock, and trying to get off the C-clip without actually losing it. Okay, since I have done it a lot of times already on this lock, it is coming off pretty easy. I know in the very first part where I tried it, it was stubborn as fuck. So I got it off, just almost fell off. Now we have the plug, and since it's locked, it's kind of still retained and secured in there. I wouldn't fiddle too much, but we're still not losing anything. And the problem now is I want to get the shim here inside between the key pins and driver pins, and the problem is that of course I need to have them at the shear line, which is now not the situation right now, since the core is locked. So if we have, of course, what I did with locking the stuff and getting back, we need to have the key to get it all to the shear line. But now we have to pay attention not to lose the plug either, because if we pull it outside, all the pins will go all the way, and so we fiddle that inside of here. Sometimes it's a bit harder to do. We got inside. Since we have seen that if the lock is in the locked position, it's a bit to the sideways. It is because the Bible of the lock, or the pins, are more to this side here. Something thinner, more to this side. Since we have the I don't actually know the word of this in English, but which we call in German Gewinde, is on this side. So the threading, I guess, it's the threading of the screw which holds the thing in the housing, and so we put it a bit on the side. So already see we push it a bit, since I have pushed the shim into that. And what I do now is turning the key a bit, so the pins of the plug, the key pins, are now more in an upright position. I wouldn't go all the way up, since we have the hose here. It can get caught there. But that is why I don't try to put it all more like an, what is that, 2 o'clock position from the front. And now we take the follower and put it right above the shim on the back. And also the shim, that helps if some plugs on the back have little grooves that are big enough to catch one of the driver pins, and then you are locked up. That happened to me also once. We will see, maybe it will happen again sometime, but that's why I'm always using the shim from now on. You see the shim here is a bit off. Okay, now we get it inside. So we almost made a mistake. See, that is the experience with you. If I turned it more over, I would have loosened the key pins. So we put it inside, key pins up so we don't lose them. And we've got the plug extracted and the key. And here, for someone new who doesn't know how it works, this is the position when the key is not inside. And you see how flush it is when the key is inside, and how this is how a lock works, if just to remember that. It could happen that this or these key pins now fall over. There's a trick. I don't do it right now. Maybe we'll do it in a separate video. But if you have the key on this thing with 6 pins, it's kind of easy to find out which pin goes where, because they have different heights, since the key has a different bitting or bitting with different heights or cuts or deepness. Call it whatever you want. Maybe there is a term. Let me know if there's a right term for it. And then you just try out until everything is flush. Just as a small tip, I had to do that already, and I had to do that on a 7640 as well, and that's a bit the different story. But we figured it out. Okay, so we have to go. Yeah, from all the talking, now there's a bit of oil or something. Is the pins. So what I do is I have actually, when I pull the plug, I have it this way, the plug. Now just no, that was the right way. Now I have to have this plug and put it like the first one from the face, the first one goes here and the last one goes here. So maybe with my big fingers it's sometimes a bit hard on such small plugs to get this stuff outside precisely, but it works. I guess you have seen that many times if you have watched other YouTubers do. That's also how I learned it. Yeah, that is a problem with my big fingers. Maybe I have to invent a tool or build a tool for that. So, okay. So now we have all these small little key pins. What I actually do or like to do is turn them already like that the tip or the thing that interacts with the key is downwards, because so I can just pick it up and pull it there. Otherwise I had to turn somehow my hands. So now we can put it there so it doesn't annoy. And if we see, all standard key pins, different lengths, different heights, and that's what's interacting with the key. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. Now you have learned it. So now we need to get the driver pins out. I'm removing the shim, and that's still where the follower comes in handy. And now it depends on the lock. First I tried with this little tweezers to get them out. So I take the plug, the follower, a bit out, and then at some point you will see a bit brass or whatever the pin is made of. And that is what I mean when I have these tweezers. Maybe you have a trick how to do it. You have to kind of catch it and then do like this motion to get it through there and catch it. Otherwise it will just jump out. And that is why I like these pointy tweezers, because you can just hold it next to it and maybe it works. Yeah, exactly. You can catch it a bit better. I got it. That's the 6th one. Now, okay. Now I talked about it. It happened to me. So the problem is the thing is with this kind of lock, it's pretty easy. I mean, these are standard spools, I would call them. They have no orientation. You can put them anywhere around, in my opinion, and it doesn't matter. And if they jump out, that's perfectly okay. So maybe I have to get a bit of better method to do it. I mean, I cannot really show it since my hands are obscuring the way, but we get bit by bit. And you see, I leave the springs still inside. Yep, there's another one, the spool. last one must be a standard pin. Yeah, definitely have to have a better method for this. Most of the, I would say 50% of them were just jumping out of the holes because I didn't grab them fast enough. So still the springs inside. What I do is just, most of the people do is just shake it and get them out. Should be 6 springs, and that is what I actually like to use for the springs, is this special pinning tweezers. I did it with, I had normal tweezers, or even the tweezers which came with my training cylinder set. And the problem here is that tweezers were magnetic. And if you have steel springs, they will stick to it, and that is annoying. So that's why I'm not using it. It's just normal tweezers with which they have filed a groove into. Maybe. Oh yeah, in my toolbox I have it already. Yeah, that's actually this one here, and you see there's a bit of a filed groove in the side, so you can. So it is a very, very slight way, like it does, or it happens here, but this is way more exaggerated, I would say, the bending here. But this thing is magnetic, you see? And that is, I don't know, it didn't help me. Maybe some people like it, but I don't. All right, so we actually successfully gutted the whole log. And here we see now the pinning. So we have the seal clip, the shielding, I told you, the 6 springs. And we have pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, there sometimes are some cat hairs on here. Cats like to walk all over the stuff. But we have 1 standard pin and the rest are full pins. Good. Let's get it back together then. So this is actually a very, after I have done it sometimes, a very easy one. But I really liked it when I started. It was a really cool experience doing that log. It's not that hard to pick. It's not that hard to take apart. And you cannot make that many mistakes on it. So if you start gutting or picking, or especially with some security pins, I would highly recommend something like that, or yeah, either that or something similar. And but it's a great, I still like it. I still like it after some weeks. I still do it just for training for myself. Perfect. Reassembling the log is actually the same thing, just reverse. And what I do here, I have maybe I have never seen some people doing it, but my method here on when I have cores or cylinders like this is not starting from one end and going all through putting the pins in, since it is sometimes hard to get from one side. Sometimes there's no other way, but if there's another way, like this, 2 openings, I go from not from one side and drop it. Is sometimes really hard, even, or especially when you have the follower in and then have to put it like this or something. What I actually do is go from center to outside from one side and then switch around and go the other way around. The problem here is you have to take care which pin is which and where goes where, and which goes where. And that's what I do. So this is the back side. You have to look which is the front side, the face, and which is the back side. And I take the follower, put it like 6 pins, the last 3 pins show up, so I take the middle one, the third one, and put a spring inside. Then I take the spool, and again, with these tweezers, there's the recommendation, take the pins on top, sorry, and then put it inside. And with spool pins, it's especially easy. Just push the follower against it, that it is kind of like binding, I would say. And then you can just press it with the pieces inside, get the follower over it, and now it's inside. So spring, take the spool pin from top, get the bottom inside, tension it or bind it, put it. don't do too much pressure on it, otherwise maybe you will damage the pin. So, but it should take a bit. I mean, it's metal, it's brass, and of course locks will get used and maybe get some damage, but it should be fine, I guess. If you have another experience, you can tell me that, of course. So I did the last 3 ones, now I did the first 3 ones. What I do is take this, be really careful not to let the follower go, or otherwise I will just drop everything and lose it. Turn it around, so I will put it so I have the first 3 open, and we see there is nothing inside yet. And we should not pull it too far back, otherwise we lose the pins. So spring, pin, bind. It's very easy with spool pins. Push the follower forward, spring, pin, bind, up, push it down, forward. With the standard pin, especially in the front, it is a bit harder to bind it, since it's very, I mean, the standard pin is just straight all the way down. But the similar technique with a bit more up, there it goes. That is what I mean. Actually, I want to use the pointy for that, so I have more way to navigate the pin. So put it inside, bind it. Oh, okay. Today maybe I'm getting older, hands getting more shaky, and my microphone is scratching all the time against the camera arm. Sorry for that. So bind it. No. So still didn't lose the pin yet. That's a good sign. I've done it so many times. Why is it now? Why has it forsaken me? So get it inside. Spinning. Pushing. Ugh. Finally. Okay. Yeah, so losing pins is not funny. The good thing, if they are brass pins, especially on my floor, I will find it since it's a high contrast. But on another log, I think it was the 7640, which I got it, they are more silverish, and that is hard to find. I think these are steel or aluminum pins, I don't know. I guess steel. Maybe I have not tested the magnet, or did not the magnet test on it. But this is hard to find, and even though if the springs are not golden or something, they are like gray, I have a blue rug underneath me. It's very hard to find. But sometimes my stomach is actually catching all of these pins. That's a good thing. So we got all these driver pins now inside. We do the shim again, the same reason as before, just the other way around. So we have it kind of sideways here again, and the plug is also inside. So now we take the sorry, not the plug, the follower. This is the plug. And the plug is, yeah, what do? We take the pins. Pin 1. Pin 2. You don't have to use these mounts. I mean, you can use, but sometimes only do it in the hand is totally enough. Oops. Nope. It went back there, okay. Yeah, I have to train more the fine mechanics of what I'm fine movement of my hands, maybe. But that is what it's all about, actually. So what we can do at this situation is just to test if we have the key. Just to test it, everything's flush, everything's fine. Perfect. So now we have to get it back. And what I recommend is the same thing, like tilting it a bit to the side, so it doesn't get caught on that. You can do the other way around, but I think like 2 o'clock position, 90 degrees to right, left. In this case, is perfectly fine. We hold the shim a bit so it doesn't fall out yet, and press the plug inside so the follower gets pushed outside. So now we can leave the follower, and now we have a bit of shim. Press it inside, it's flush with the face. And what I actually do now is pull the shim. You don't need that. And now I lock it up. Try to lock it up. So now it's locked. Oh shit, now I turned it the other way around. That is what I meant. Sometimes there's a little trick you can do. Okay, we'll look at the failure. I turned the other way around. Now it's here with the, what is it called? But the keyway, it's caught in there. And just push the pins, the driver pins down, and turn the key, the plug a bit. Now we have it locked. That happened to me often. Yeah, I had just pushed it the other way around. Alright, so now we take the circlip again and secure the whole plug. And now, since it is a bit loosened, I guess, from all the time I have opened this lock already. I showed it yesterday to a friend who is also getting into the whole lock picking topic. So the problem here is we have to get into that groove here, which is more on this side actually. Sometimes it is just right there. Sometimes you have to fiddle around till it fits, but it won't. Now it is okay. Now it's inside. Everything's flush. Good. So to be sure, what we can do all the time is put the key inside, turn it. It's secure, so the plug doesn't come out. You can turn the key. Everything's fine. And then the last part. Now, almost the last part is putting the shielding back on. So that's what I do. I put it on here, and then just the thing is inside the actuator is already in the right position since it's the default position of it, and we could get it back there. So it's inside. Everything's flush. That's always good. Screw is already inside, and then we can just turn the screw, and here we are. Lock is assembled. We disassembled it, we picked it. One last part. The lock is not shimmable from above since we have the ball bearing system inside. So it is not that easy to bypass. I have not found any way yet or tried any way yet otherwise than shimming, or I don't know actually what it like the shanking or whatever it's called, to go step into the bag or whatever with a flag or with a lever to open it, to bypass this lock. Maybe you have an idea, maybe a kinetic attack or something, but pinning is actually pretty, or the single pin picking is actually pretty easy, so I think there's no way by bypassing that. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching, and auf Wiedersehen.